fight. The pretty looking people, but I can tell you people, they were the devil's children.
Greetings from Mickey, Aurora, and from me. Time is very much of the essence today, because as soon as I've done this, I have to show quite a lot of people around the castle gratis historic houses. The members come to each other's houses. And then, immediately after that, I have to turn around and go into London to attend a friend's birthday party. So, time is very much of the essence. So, if you will bear with me, I am going to plunge right in with what Jerry Redmond says. Lady C, I thought the woman you spoke to on the phone handled the call well, listened respectfully, and didn't give you any guff. Jerry Redmond, I couldn't agree more. I thought Liz Hartley's assistant was legal assistant, not personal assistant or secretarial assistant. I thought she was commendable the way she handled it. She didn't try to dodge any bullets, and I thought she was wonderful as well. So yes, let's give credit where it's due, because someone called Sovereigns has said giving credit to me when it's due, and of course not acknowledged. Hello, Lady C. They were just talking on the radio, Nick Ferrari, LBC Radio, about Boris Johnson revealing that the Queen had actually died of a form of bone cancer. I phoned in to say that you had revealed this and alluded to it before the Queen had died over 2 years ago. Keep sparkling. Thank you very much for that, Sovereigns. I'm well used to not getting credit. You know, my book comes out long before Andrew Morton's. My book has various revelations, yet he is given credit for it, including by people like Andrew Neil, who are supposed to be reputable journalists. Well, the less said about it, the better. But thanks, and I am chuffed that you acted on my behalf. Thank you so much. Now, I'm going to, because I am hopping mad at the impertinence of that little scrubber and her allies. So I am going to tell a little something that a princely person has whispered in my ear about dear Harry and Meghan. One of the princely families wrote to him in the strongest possible terms after he approached them to prostitute themselves on his behalf while he was making a program on Apollo, and they weren't having a bit of it. They said no. And then they wrote him in the strongest possible terms, pointing out to him why they would not have anything to do with him or her hereafter. They said that, well, let's not even particularize what they said. But they said pretty much that they thought that Harry and Meghan's behaviour was disgraceful and they wanted no part of anything to do with them. Have they received even an acknowledgement of the receipt of the letter? Not a bit of it. Which, of course, I said is par for the course and to be expected, but they felt was yet another instance of Harry failing to understand what good behaviour is all about. Well, my feeling is, why would you expect a pig to fly unless it's the Castle Goring flying pig? Also, I was told that Meghan approached an Indian charity that she had previously worked with when she paid people, I forget what it was, like 100 rupees. I covered this some time ago. Oh, I really don't remember any of it particularly, except the broad outlines. But she approached that charity again, trying to get them on board so that she could do something on cervical cancer, using them the way she previously used them on another matter. Let us wait and see what happens, because maybe she makes a big enough donation, they will put their bellies first, and I would not condemn them for doing that at all. But is she now going to discover that she has cervical cancer? One day left eye. Oh, I'm so distressed and distraught. Oh. Let's wait and see. After all, anything Catherine can do, I can do better. I can now cancel her if it's so. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. I am better. I am better. And if you don't know it, it's because you're a racist and you're just horrid. Linda's musings says, she looked thoroughly insecure without someone to control, in my opinion. Totally weird. And Fee Ozymandias says, yes, even non-professionals could observe in what little we saw that she was a behavioural mess. That interview she gave the reporter was just gibberish. Made the usual word salad sound Churchillian by comparison. She was unable to string a sentence together. She was really wacky. And all over the place. Incidentally, I don't know if you've noticed, I have a cold coming on. And we did not even see all of it. So who knows what else? The sticking the tongue out like a serpent move at the bookstore is so bizarre too. Well, serpents do flick their tongues. And so do people who specialize in other aspects that involve tongues wrapping around things. Strokey bokies. I wish a highly experienced person would do a prose analysis of her behaviour that night. Not worth it. We all know that she's wacko. She looked textbook something. Charles Manson, here I come. I listened to her interview twice with captions, and it made no sense, especially the latter part, but those eyes are that desperate, clinging on to hands. But we'll get to that in a second. She looked off her head for whatever reason we don't know. Well, you may not know. But if that were my spouse or close family, I would now be trying to intercede in some way to see if they would accept help. What is going on? I'll tell you what is going on. I mentioned it the other day. Narcissistic collapse. Poor Megsy baby. Hasn't stopped her trying to destroy me and my career. Nor has it stopped her before she had the narcissistic collapse, employing the tools. And I should actually say that that's my belief. I don't think that this came out of nowhere. And if she personally didn't do it, the people who are acting on her behalf, it's very much a Henry II and Thomas a Becket situation. So, but for legal reasons, I won't particularly accuse her. Let's put it that way. But narcissistic abuse is what she gives to others, and narcissistic collapse is what the poor sweet baby is suffering from now that her world is collapsing around her ear. Oh. Well, my understanding is, and I said this the other day, and I'm going to repeat it again, she is suffering from narcissistic collapse. She is beside herself with distress that all her well thought out plans, plots, and schemes have not resulted in her elevation, even if they have resulted in the destruction of such careers as Piers Morgan and Dan Wootton. And she is distraught, and she is, the way somebody who's about to be executed for horrific crimes is really crying for himself and not for anything else. Poor baby. What's going on? That's what's going on. Poor, sweet, innocent, poor, sweet darling. Min Wade says, Lady C, I thoroughly understand how you would feel after the shenanigans over decades with the legacy media. I agree, no quarter given to anyone once they've shown you who they are. Believe them. I agree. The mainstream media and the 5 main newspaper companies in this country that I have successfully sued over the last 50 years know that I don't joke. The last idiot who thought she could get away with it was that jerk Alison Phillips, who was the editress of the Daily Mirror, and she thought she was going to be able to strong jaw me and brazen it out. And not only didn't she do it, she cost her newspaper hundreds of thousands of pounds, and within a very short space of time was stepped down, let's put it that way. Shades of Eve Pollard, who did the same thing and tried the same thing with me with the Sunday Express. So anyway, as for Meghan Markle, in my opinion, and allegedly, I do not feel she was appropriately dressed for the event, which she incidentally wasn't invited. I don't agree with that, but I'll get to that in a moment. Allegedly, she carpet crashed the event and was escorted away. Who on earth would go through all the effort of clothing alterations very poorly, having their hair and makeup done just to pop up like a mad hatter on the carpet for a few clicks? Well, if there's a camera, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up. That's who would do it. Allegedly, there's footage of what's known as coke jaw on display in Meghan Markle's behaviour. I had no idea what coke jaw was till I looked it up. Very interesting, to say the least. One learns something new every day. Great vlog. Thank you and take care. Have a fabulous morning, afternoon or evening. Best wishes from Adelaide, South Australia. Well, my understanding is that she was asked to the event. She was not fit to take part in the whole event. She couldn't maintain the facade for the whole event, but they and she were perfectly happy for her to do the red carpet so that they would get the publicity that her presence assured them of. It's called my hand washing your back and your hand washing mine. I use you, you use me. She is and has been for some time friendly with Kelly McKee-Jagfern, whose 9-year-old son died very suddenly and tragically. She met her through her husband. Well, they met through their respective husbands, Trevor Engelson and Kelly McKee-Jagfern's husband. And they have maintained relations since then. So I do not accept that she wasn't asked or that she crashed. She was going to be of use to them, and they used her. And they were going to be of use to her, and she used them. Remember, 3 days after the wedding, when she pitched up at Buckingham Palace, and after 15 minutes, she said, "Harry, this is really boring. Let's go." Sort of, we've got, the cameras have captured us. We've got all we need to get out of this occasion now. It's in my book. That was, to me, the first sign that something deeply ominous was happening. And not only to me, to the people who overheard it. So she's a great one for showing up. And Lizzie Cundy, whom I know and like, and who incidentally looked fabulous in her red dress, which fit properly, and she knew how to pose, which Meghan is. But Meghan was evidently, from people who were, Meghan was just so hyper. She was just all over me. Oh, I'm just so happy to see you. Oh, isn't this just wonderful? And yes, hysteria par excellence. Way over the top. Evidently, maximum enthusiasm. Oh, my cold is really bothering me. All over the place. Well, Lizzie Cundy, who was there, has confirmed that Meghan appeared purely to be on the red carpet, and she was then ushered away after through a side door. Now, Lizzie didn't tell me this, but someone else told me this. She was not in a fit condition to stay for the night. She was not in a fit condition. Shall we leave it at that? According to observers, she was not in a fit condition. But you see, she can... Shouldn't you be in bed, little boy? I'm just so wonderful and cuddlesome. I'm just the best mama that God put on this earth. I take after my mama. I'm a fabulous mama. My pot-smoking, crack-taking mama who wasn't around for years. I'm just fabulous, just like my mama. My poor cold. So bothering me. Desiree Wong says, "Dear Lady Colin Campbell, I really enjoy your videos and find them rollicking fun, entertaining and informative. Thank you. That's my objective. However, I listened to a YouTuber tonight and was disturbed by a statement he made, which is that King Charles does not want to kick Andrew out of Royal Lodge, but it is Queen Camilla who is urging the king to evict Prince Andrew, so her sister can move into Royal Lodge. Whatever next? Meghan Markle cast as the Virgin Mary? Or a compassionate human being? I find the statement inflammatory and cannot believe it is true, since Queen Camilla's sister must own a house. She certainly does. I've actually been to it. And why would she want to move into such a large house, which is in need of repairs, when there is Frogmore Cottage, which has just been renovated in the same area. Please let us know your opinion on this issue. Utter rubbish yet again. We are being bombarded by pro-Meghan and Harry manipulations, fantasies, lies, destructive fabrications at anybody whom they regard, let me rephrase that, anybody whom they regard as an enemy, and that they have made quite clear they regard as an enemy. So these people should be brought down. Chief of which at the moment is Camilla. Annabel Elliot definitely has her own house. The idea is ridiculous. And Annabel Elliot, in any event, would not want Royal Lodge. Annabel Elliot is perfectly correct and understands that she is Queen Camilla's sister. She's not royal. The idea that she would be seeking to occupy Royal Lodge. And may I make the point? Prince Andrew has a 75-year lease. If they shoved him out when he has a valid lease, if she had a valid lease, she would be shoved out as well. Come the change of crown. Let's leave it at that. Marie Landis says, I saw where Harry and Meghan are rumoured to have been at Hollywood freak-out parties with Diddy, which Diddy hosted. Wow, have the bongo drums presented anything on that? Yes, they have. There are photographs. There are photographs that exist of them, in particular Harry, at P. Diddy's parties. Yes, I have had Hollywood people telling me. Now, we need to emphasize, as I have done before, and I'm going to do again, that these parties were two-tier sessions, where on the one hand you had the respectable party for a certain length of time, followed by the louche party for the rest of the time, after the respectables had left. The question that arises, of course, is Harry somebody who stayed or didn't stay? And I'm afraid I'm not prepared to make any assertions on that matter unless I have the photographs in my hands. I'm very attached to my money, and I intend to keep attached to it. I'm not going to have those leeches plugging to my hard-earned money. Certainly not after the way they have behaved towards everybody. Let's put it that way. Aris Golding says, yes, many people from the Commonwealth want the titles to go. What happened to the removal of Titles Bill? It was going very well, but Rishi Sunak stamped on it, and that was that. Putting on my conspiracy hat, either the threatened king was behind that, or Rishi genuinely believed that Parliament had more pressing issues to discuss. Parliament had far more pressing issues to discuss. I said at the time, and I'm going to say it again, there was no real will to have a bill trundle through Parliament that was going to cause such divisiveness and that would have had all of the proto-racists jumping on the bandwagon, hysterically using, oh, race, everybody's racist, the way Meghan and Harry have done, and Meghan and Harry's supporters have done. This country has far bigger problems that need to be addressed than whether that frowsy California bit of totty and her brain a dead creep of a husband. That's right. That's what I think of them at the moment. Whether they warrant the time. They don't warrant the time. It would create a huge international fuss. All of the dominions and realms would have to get involved, of which Charles is head of state. I mean, I, as a Jamaican, can immediately see all the race baiters in Jamaica who see colour prejudice where none exists and where none can be reasonably seen to have existed, jumping on that bandwagon and deciding, oh, well, it's all because Meghan's a proud, confident woman of colour and star of suits, and she popped right out of that belly button. Two wonderful babies of colour, lily white. And incidentally, I noticed that Harry has leapt to Meghan's defence and said that their two children are lucky enough to have inherited her thick head of hair. I wonder if that could have any connection with the GoFundMe situation. Is that a message that Harry is giving, that his children with Meghan are hers as well? Because it doesn't address the surrogacy issue, does it? Of course, maybe he's too dumb to have figured that one out, but I'm figuring it out as I talk. But those two children have Meghan's thick head of hair. It's not frizzy. It's not what used to be called a negroid. I don't know what the latest term is, because you can't call it black, because people with black hair can be straight, curly, or whatever. So I think we better stick to negroid. You know, Meghan's frizzy, kinky hair, as they'd say in Jamaica. She have well, I can't say it now, but she has a something, head of hair, they used to say. Well, she can iron it till she's blue in the face. The fact of the matter is it's kinky, and her children's hair is not kinky. But did they inherit from Meghan not only the 43% of Nigerian genes, which therefore mean that their hair is thick and kinky as opposed to curly, because there's a big difference? Or is this just another fantasy? I have to tell you, Meghan and Harry have shown themselves of their support of their supporters to be reprehensible human beings. And where this GoFundMe revival is concerned, I have GoFundMe investigating And Thomas Markle Sr. texted me to say that he needed me to speak to him because he has discovered something about some YouTuber who instituted an inquiry. Well, I'm afraid between the time difference and my schedule, there's no way I'm going to be able to do it today. I texted him back to say, if not today, tomorrow, but I doubt very much it will be today. Maybe on the way into London, I will have the time to speak to him. But between now and then, no. And quite frankly, I also take the view that if YouTubers wish to investigate, they're perfectly at liberty to do so. I have absolutely nothing to conceal or hide. I do, on the other hand, resent Harry and Meghan's supporters, in quotation marks, fabricating scenarios, because Meghan and Harry are very good at getting people, or doing it themselves, to lie on their behalf, or lying on their own behalf. And there is no doubt that reactivating that YouTube account and getting people to, or allowing people to donate when I would have had no means of knowing that the account had been reactivated, because I'm not in the habit of ordering people to shut something down and then 2 months later it is reactivated. To me, when I say, could you please do something to somebody, it's not actually a request. It's a command. I'm simply being polite. When I say to somebody, could you please shut down an account, it's not a request. It is a command. And I think it is absolutely outrageous that after my command, couched as a request, was fulfilled, it then turns out that through some, which is being investigated at the moment, bizarre happening, it was reactivated. There is no doubt in my mind that that was done to discredit me. And they thought, doubtless, that the accusation would envelop me and I would be wrong-footed. And having been wrong-footed, I would then be on the defensive. Well, it's turned out I'm on the offensive, but it doesn't alter the fact that but for Martin Robertson or Robinson or whatever his name is, getting in touch with David Samuel, my agent at ASM, I would not have known. So I would have been wrong-footed. I have to tell you, people who create false scenarios to destroy people, their critics, who are actually simply addressing their behaviour, are evil. They are irresponsible, they are sick, they are disgusting, and they should have no part in public life to play. That's my take on it. Harry and Meghan clean up their act and clean up not only their own act, but their act in terms of their supporters. I'm not saying they did it, but I am saying the only people who would have had any incentive for it would have been people who were trying to discredit me because they don't like what I'm saying about Harry and Meghan, notwithstanding the fact everything I say is true and fair. And on that note, I'll say thank you very much for listening. I hope this has been of some interest to you. If it has, please keep the questions and comments coming in. And thank you very much. Godspeed. And if you have truly enjoyed this, would you care to like, share, subscribe, press the notification bell, and take good care. Bye-bye.